It is a pleasure being here today, and I'm really excited to represent Southwestern Energy, and I hope I don't let you all down. What I would like to talk to you all about today really is twofold. One is really, developing initially a very strong HSE culture within a company to have a really strong foundation that then lets us go externally and to work collaboratively with other industries, agency, consultants, NGOs, et cetera, to really, in a much bigger picture, address a number of the risks that we've been talking about so far today. Have to throw up the disclaimer real quick. We'll move right through that. In terms of Southwestern Energy, in case many of you aren't aware of our company, we're headquartered in Houston, Texas. We are primarily an E&P company. We are, at this point, I believe, the fourth largest producer of natural gas in the United States, roughly 2,500 employees. And you can see where our primary E&P operations are, with the biggest cluster being the Fayetteville Shale, which is the play that Southwestern Energy identified several years ago. What's not on this slide is that we are a vertically integrated company. So we actually do have a sand mine where we manufacture the sand that's used in fracking. We have a number of drill rigs that are our own that we operate. We're currently in the process of converting many of those over to the dual fuel, diesel, natural gas power. We do have our own frac pump spreads. We also naturally have our production, but then we also have a good midstream arm. So we have a number of compressor stations and gathering lines. So in terms of implementing, our HSE culture and collaborative initiatives, we have to span a pretty broad range. Culture is a function of combining your values and behaviors, something we all have as individuals. And, when you come to work at a company, we really try to align both of those to match, the ultimate culture company, the ultimate culture of the company. Really, you achieve, the culture of HSE when HSE becomes, just a part of your everyday business. And that's something we take pride in, is having that being an integral part of our business. And we like to say that HSE is not an afterthought, but it's actually a way of doing business. And in terms of developing an HSE culture within a company or an organization, it's really kind of a series of steps that you really need to take, where you need to start out with an awareness of where you really are, and a candid awareness, and then getting the company to recognize where you stand. And then really, getting senior management support, to take the next steps up the chain. Because really, without their report from the top down, that culture is not going to develop, it's not going to be sustained, and it'll fall apart. You also have to have accountability for HSE, and you have to have people understand what the expectations are, and what their role is and what they need to do. And certainly, a key rung on the ladder is the employee involvement. Everybody's got to be engaged. And when you can pull all those things together, then you will arrive eventually at an HSE culture. At Southwestern, we value safety. And really what we're trying to do is make safety equal to the other aspects of our operations. And HSE compliance is key. And you can't just rely on the HSE department to be the one that achieves this goal. I mean, it really has to be everybody pulling together to achieve HSE excellence. And our motto is HSE is my responsibility. And I could have put up a number of slides, showing a stool, with the three legs, et cetera. But again, HSE is my responsibility. It is a key component of our business. And, we ask our operators to treat an air permit just like they, maintain a compressor engine, as an example. I mean, it is a piece of paper, but they need to understand it and comply with it because it is a part of their responsibility. In terms of some of the tools that we utilize at Southwestern Energy to help with our HSE culture, and this is certainly not the complete listing, but I thought some of the ones that were pretty key. Certainly we have to provide training to the folks so that they understand, what the requirements are and what they're accountable for, what they need to do. And we start off with a new hire orientation. So every employee that comes into the company gets indoctrinated not only on the culture of the company, but also what our HSE culture is. Then we have an HSE leadership training session, which really targets our supervisors and above, really stresses the importance of their leadership to help, drive the culture and their key role in pressing the accountability and supporting their employees to achieve our objectives. Naturally, we have a HSE handbook like most companies and programs. But we also have some other things, including HSE goals, and we have a balanced scorecard that we use to help, track where we stand on those goals. But one of the things with our goals that was pretty new that I think really ties into some of the conversation today, a lot of our goals are the standard goals of preventing vehicle incidents or preventing NOVs. But in a while you'll hear me talk a little bit about our ECHO program, which is a water program. So we actually have some goals that really wrap around water conservation and minimizing our water usage. And then I'm primarily an airhead, so I'm a little more sensitive to the air goals. But we implemented an air goal to go out and do LDAR surveys of all of our facilities, both production and compressor stations, in 2014, as well as a commitment to repairing leaks that did not need to be put on delay of repair list as soon as practical, but within 15 days as a minimum. In addition, we established a goal to reduce our emissions as reported under Subpart W, the Greenhouse Gas Reporting Rule. And we also added a new goal that's kind of trying to be thought-provoking that we called our avoided carbon cost goal. And that right there is where we're really trying to encourage our personnel, whether it's engineers, operations, or others, to really start looking at the cost of carbon emissions and what we can do to really try to minimize or maximize that cost savings, but ultimately minimize the emissions. We also have an HSE steering committee that starts at the top. So there's a corporate HSE steering committee. That's kind of, the penultimate committee. And then from there we have HSE committee in each of our core business areas. And that's another good way for us to really take the HSE initiatives and drive them from the top down. And then finally, we do have a variety of HSE awards and recognition ranging from gift cards for when employees do the right thing from a safety standpoint to an annual presentation on stewardship that the CEO of our company gives out to a lucky recipient within the company. And I put this slide up here because it's called the Path Forward HSE Next Generation. Again, we're proud of the HSE culture and performance that we have, but we're not just going to sit back and rest on our laurels. We're actually, revisiting, revamping our program, our culture, and we've embarked, on this initiative that we call the Next Generation. So it's part of the V+, continuing to add value to our system and the program. So that was primarily our internal, and so here's an overview of where we're starting to take a number of our initiatives externally or in a collaborative effort. And at SWN, we engage with our various stakeholders in what we consider a one-team approach. And just as some quick examples more on the safety side here, we do engage with the agency. So we've been working with OSHA and NIOSH on silica sand studies and flowbacks. We were also one of the early participants in a safety initiative that originally was called the South Texas Exploration and Production Safety Network that has now expanded to a national program and is not just E&P, but includes a service industry, transmission, really the value chain. And it's a voluntary program that started locally and then spread nationally. And then here in a moment, you'll see some of our contractor engagement initiatives. Here's a number of the safety-related collaborative issues that we've engaged in. The Short Service Employee Program is a program that we have where even people that we bring in for internships, what we do is we align them with a mentor who's gone through the HSE Leadership Training Program. We give them a packet of the information that we really expect them to convey to the intern. And so this is in addition to the new employee orientation, but really trying to get our interns ramped up and up to speed. And it does extend outside of our company because sometimes the interns may interface with some contractors that we also ask to help educate our interns on the right way to do things. We have a training assurance program. That's a program that we came up with that is available on you can do it online. I forget the fancy term. But that is a program where we require the contractors that come on our site to actually go through the program, and at the end of it, they get a sticker they can put on their hat. And when they go out to the sites, if they don't have a sticker, well, then we politely ask them to take the class before they come back to the site. We are participants in the IS Net World, which helps us look at how a number of the vendors perform both in the safety arena and the environmental arena. And down at the bottom we have the Street Smart program, which is a program that we've engaged in to really try to lower our truck speeds and make the roads safe and minimize the damage to the streets. Included in that line are some of the other programs, including Teamworks, which is a program that we initiated where we pull our vendors in and we basically give them a very condensed version of our HSE leadership program and really kind of explain to them our view on HSE leadership and what we expect out of them, largely because when they're doing work, they are reflecting back on us. So again, really trying to get them to engage with us. Then on the environmental front, on some of the methane emission reduction activities, Southwestern Energy is an active and continues to be an active participant in the EPA Natural Gas STAR program. We're very proud that we were selected as the Production Partner of the Year back in 2011. I was hoping to repeat that last year, and they didn't acknowledge a single winner. They acknowledged all of us for continuing to participate, but we're going to get back up there again. I mentioned earlier that SWN has engaged in what we call a smart LDAR program. Actually, our midstream facility started using the FLIR cameras to do LDAR surveys back in 2012. And then in the fourth quarter, this time actually last year, we actually started doing that at our production sites. And then I mentioned that we're in the process of converting a number of our rigs over to dual fuel. We actually are right now in the process of doing a fuel cell test. And what we're trying to look at there is most of our production sites, as you all probably well aware, don't have power. And if we want to convert from natural gas-driven pneumatics to air-driven pneumatics, we need an air compressor. That means power. And I don't think that we really want to put in a gas-powered engine to generate power. So we're actually trying a fuel cell to see how that works. On environmental collaboration, we've kind of initiated a coalition that we call the ONE, which is Our Nation's Energy Future. And in the big picture, what we're trying to do is provide affordable, reliable, low-carbon energy source, natural gas, to the U.S. And our vision is that we have three modules: a module for air, a module for water, and then a module for community, which really community kind of pulls in the other issues like noise, road, waste. It's the general category. Our initial foray is the One Future, One Solution program. And here you see that what we're trying to do is enhance the energy efficiency of natural gas supply through the value chain. So not just production, but production all the way up through distribution, such that our leak loss rate is less than 1%. So that's an initiative that we kicked off. And at present, we have 6 other industries that have signed on to this commitment, and we've certainly opened it up to and are encouraging other industry members to join us. And although it's not shown there, it is an industry coalition, but it's intended to engage and work with academia, vendors, and NGOs on various elements of the program, whether it's identifying additional measurement technologies or et cetera that we can employ. So we're not leaving you out totally there, Mark. These are a number of the research collaborative efforts that we're engaged in, and actually Mark hit on a number of them, but we're engaged in the DOE Penn State top-down methane emission study. We're actually paying for an additional tower to hopefully capture even more data, and we'll also be providing our facility operating data so that people know. It's one thing to measure and get a number, but then when you can match that up to what's actually going on at a site, that's really valuable information. We've been engaged in both the production and the midstream bottom-up studies that, again, Mark mentioned. We're also engaged in the DJ Basin reconciliation study, which is really kind of looking at both the top-down, bottom-up, and really trying to get things to come together more in the middle. And then down at the bottom, some new measurement technology partnerships. We are one of the participants on the technical advisory committee for the EDF methane detector challenge, where we're really trying to help identify or drive to low-cost methane sensors that can help us identify those fat tails or super emitters a lot more quickly than when we get out to a site with a handheld FLIR camera. The ECHO project is our water initiative, and I believe we announced it a year or so ago. And the simple line is we've committed to being freshwater neutral by 2016. So that's a pretty ambitious goal for a production company. In terms of some of the elements to help get us there, we have protection, and then we have, of course, reduction, innovation, and conservation. And we've been really careful in our program to make sure that we don't focus all of our activities in one area. So, where maybe under conservation we could achieve, the necessary offsets, we've said no. We have to have a balance. We have to drive innovation for better ways to treat the water, to reuse the water, to recycle the water, as well as looking at opportunities in the area of reduction to actually reduce the amount of water that we use. So, again, trying to hit all points as part of the program. This is just one of the examples of the ECHO project, and I put it up here because it's kind of unique. What we're doing is we're working with the state of Pennsylvania to actually build a wastewater treatment system that can treat some acid mine drainage that they have. Now, we could have, put in the treatment technology and then taken the water that was treated and trucked it down the road and used it in one of our frac jobs, but we opted not to do that. We're actually having the water go back into the stream, into the river, thereby, enhancing the water quality of that stream and that river. But I think one of the things that's key here is when you look at the partners, you see that it's multiple partners there. I mean, we're working with conservation districts, the commission. We're working with Trout Unlimited. So again, working with an array of agency and NGO entities. And then this is some more examples. We have the Wellbore Integrity Project that we've engaged in. Part of that is we're doing a study with Yale University, where we've committed to install some groundwater monitoring wells at some sites in Pennsylvania and do groundwater monitoring well in advance of actually drilling some wells. So that's something we've engaged in. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Model Framework Rule. That was a project that EDF and SWN worked on to really pull together the right way to build and construct a well, and really, I think, started a really good partnership with EDF and Southwestern Energy. We also have our Right Products program, which is a program that we have to help identify greener or better chemicals that we can use. And then finally, some of you all may have seen this and wondered what this is. This is the SWN formula, and what it means is the right people doing the right things, wisely investing the cash flow from the underlying assets will create value plus. And so this is the formula that drives every one of us at the company. And I think that it applies here today in terms of us doing the right thing, to have a strong safety culture, to engage in a collaborative manner, and really to help try and minimize and manage our risks. So thank you.